You are listening to Unequaled with JC Carroll and Ajay Salveson. But first, our friends, the Painted Roses.
Welcome to another edition of Unequaled. JC Carroll, ID Hall of Famer. I'm Ajay Salveson, Radio Hall of Famer sometime down the line, years later down the line. Thanks for the Painted Roses, Cole Stalker. We can get him on our podcast. He actually asked to come on one time. He egotistically asked me if he could be on our podcast. I said, no, absolutely not. We'll use your music, but you cannot be on our podcast. But Cole's welcome on anytime. Anyways, no big thanks to them and our sponsors. JC, one thing you and I have in common with our guests, we were both high school coaches. Well, you are a high school coach. I was a high school coach. Your career lasted much longer than mine did. Mine lasted for a spring and a summer, and I was done. But I'm excited about our next guest, who could give you some tips on how to lead a couple champions.
Please. Yeah.
Please. You know, how to deal with those, headaches of, playing time and, parents and all that stuff. I'm excited about our next guest. This should be fun.
No, I'm really excited. Anyone that has had as much success that he has had in any realm of coaching is unbelievable. There's definitely so much to learn. I'm excited to see what he has to say, hear some experiences, and been looking forward to this for the last couple of weeks.
I'm so good scheduled. Yeah, it's fun. Joining us, he has over 300 wins in his coaching career. He has 15 region championships, 4 state title appearances, 2 state championship wins. First coach to ever come from a loser side of the bracket and win a state championship in state history. By the way, National Baseball Coaches Hall of Fame inductee as well. It's Coach Steve Hansen from Mountain Crest High School. Coach, hi, how are you?
Doing good. I'm glad to be here and happy to share some insight and see how this thing goes. And it's great to be a part of this.
It's always like I give people's resumes and I give yours and you're like, yes, I know, absolutely, keep going. But I feel like there's some people who get uncomfortable hearing their resume. I know you're years down after, you're done coaching, but have you actually had the chance to just sit back and appreciate because during your coaching tenure, you were always, I always talk to you about numbers and record wins that you would have, and you'd be like, Ajay, nobody cares. We got a game this week. I'm worried about this week in this series. But now that you're done, have you had a chance to sit back and appreciate it all?
Yeah, I sit back, reflect a little bit and see what I don't know if it's accomplished, but what I went throughout my coaching career and so on. And a lot of times I sit back and think what more I could have done too and what could have happened and so on. And, kind of look at some of the losses we've had and I should have made some different choices or changes or so on and maybe win a little bit more. But yeah, it's satisfying and it's fun to look back and reminisce for sure.
Yeah. So let's start kind of from the beginning. What you told us that you played college baseball.
Yes.
What position did you play? Where did you play? What was that like?
Yeah, at college I played first base, and I went to Snow College for 2 years. Then I actually did transfer to Colorado State for 1 semester, and things just didn't turn out there.
Yeah.
And so I transferred from there to Southern Utah, finished my career there, played first base, and college baseball is great. It's awesome. I tell the players that all the time. If they get a chance, go there and play and enjoy the grind and, all that sort of stuff. Because the one thing I really liked about college is that you're surrounded by baseball players.
Yeah.
Guys that wanted to be there all the time, that loved it as much as you did and so on. High school, you have that 5 or 6 and some of the other ones just want to hang out type of things. So, but college baseball's it is great and it is very fun.
Oh, good. We'll talk about that. The guys just want to hang out. Now, I do like baseball. I played baseball up until high school. It wasn't a high school sport in Wyoming. Mm-hmm. So I do love it. I do have a deep respect for baseball. But help me understand as well. My understanding is the catcher kind of the field general out there, and the first baseman has a pretty big leadership role as well, if I'm not mistaken. I just think of Don Mattingly, and I hear a lot of stuff that he used to talk about. You being a first baseman, Was that part of your role there?
Yeah, first baseman is a big part. A lot of times they think they can just stick anybody at first base and they can play, but it's a tough position. It's a role, and a lot of first basemen are they're flat out hitters, and so they play defense and hit, and they can worry about possibly being a type of a captain or a team leader or that so forth. But I'd say the catcher would be the general out there and so on. But yeah.
I'm kind of laughing because the next image that comes to my mind for a first baseman is the movie Moneyball. When they sit in the living room, Brad Pitt and his scouts sit in the living room with
Chris Pratt.
Saying, "We're going to make you a first baseman," and he's like, "He's never played first," and he's like, "It's easy. We'll teach you." Tell him, coach. He goes, "It's going to be unbelievably difficult."
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just keep seeing that in my mind, and it kind of made me laugh. So, the fact that, and I didn't know that the first base was a hitter. So, Are they a power hitter, or are they like a hitter that just is going to get on base every time?
Most of those power hitters. They're usually the middle of the lineup guys.
Okay,
that can hit some home runs and so on. There are a lot of guys in the major leagues are the ones that kind of are hanging on where their last part of their career or something, and they put them there. They can't move quite as fast, but they can still do it and so on. But yeah, when I was in high school, I actually played second base until after my junior year. I played there in my junior year. My coach came to me like, "What's your goals?" And so I want to play college baseball. I said, "Well, you're a good second baseman in high school. You'll be a college first baseman." And then I was like, "No way, I can't play. I don't want the first base." But that's the best move I made. So
what was the big adjustments from going to second base to first base? Like the mitt's different, the angle's different. Like you're not from the ground ball. You're feeling like a laser beam coming at you from third.
Yeah, it's a lot different. The angles, without doubt, and of course the mitt and stuff. But just scooping the ball, bat throws, the footwork at first base is I wouldn't say difficult, but something to get used to.
Were you lefty or righty?
I was right-handed. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was curious about it because it looks like you would have been a hitter. I mean, you got the physical.
What are you doing here?
Look, when a guy looks strong, he looks strong. I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't know how strong I look right now, but anyway, yeah.
When did you get into coaching? Was that immediately after your snow college? You said a semester at Colorado State. And when did you start? Because your first year of coaching in the first few years was at Tooele, right?
Yes. Tooele High School.
How old were you?
I was a head coach at 23. I was 23 years old. When I went to Tooele for 1 year. I was a JV coach, and I was hired there, them telling me like, "Hey, we want you to have 1 year of coaching at high school, and then we'll hire you as the head coach." And so I did that at JV, and so I was 23. Yeah, that was my first time.
What year was that? Sorry.
Spring of 91, I believe, was my first year coach.
There's a key question to that because 5 years later, you picked up your first state championship in 1996?
96, yeah.
Was that 3A or 4A?
It was 4A. It was 4A at the time. In fact, we beat Mountain Crest in the state tournament, so I always have to remind some of the players.
Was it Nick Lindley or one of your assistants? Was he on that team?
Yeah, he was on that team. Nick Lindley played. Yeah, so I reminded him all the time about that.
That's cool.
Anyway.
At 23, were you intimidated at all moving to the head coaching position?
Looking back, I don't think I was. My dad was a football coach for years in high school for 20 plus years, and so I was always around sports and so on. And it just seemed like a natural progression to me. I really did.
Yeah.
Didn't feel that.
No. So, and that's good. And I don't know how. Look, because I kind of laugh about it. My dad has coached high school sports for 35 years. I grew up in it. I was watching it. I played basketball for 4 years in college, 13 years, then 17 years after that.
Yes.
I was extremely intimidated when I applied for the head job.
Yeah.
For basketball. I was like, I know what I'm doing, but I've never done this. It's a new world. And I was like, let's figure it out. So that's amazing that at 23, you weren't intimidated.
Yeah,
because
I maybe was, but looking back, I didn't seem like, looking back on it and stuff. So
what was your mentality like? Because maybe it never changed, but when your first year as a head coach, coaching these 16, 17, whatever, 18-year-old kids, what's your mentality as a varsity baseball coach in year number one?
I try to come in a little hard-nosed. little disciplined guy, and
Did it work back then?
yeah, it was it worked a lot better back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
100%.
And players back then and stuff took discipline, but they wanted it, and so on, and yeah. So try to tell them, I don't know if it's who's the boss, but I wanted that respect and that sort of stuff, and what I say goes type of thing, and we're doing it for the best interest for not only one player but for the whole team and the whole program, and that's what I try to instill.
Carrie Nilton and her team at Gill Mortgage of Logan, Utah are committed to great customer service even after your loan closes. Karen and her team want you to experience knowledge, communication, and building that long-lasting business relationship. Make Gill Mortgage your trusting partner.
I'm probably going to make you flashback, and it's probably hard to do so on some of this, but your first few years before that state championship run, what was your guys' success like?
Well, my first year, we ended up having a pretty good run in the state tournament, if I remember right. And then after that, we won the region 4 years in a row. And then in '96, we ended up winning the state championship. And that was the first and only state championship that Twilla's had. And they're an old school. They've been around a long time. So yeah. And then my last year, we just had a mediocre year there. Came up here.
What was the, JC asked you a little bit about this, but you ended up here. Have you been here before? Like, why Cache Valley? Did you fall in love with it so much? Because I know Jim Baldwin was the coach.
Yes.
And you had told Jim, I think several years before this, several times, that, hey, when you're done, I want your job, so let me know.
Uh-huh.
Did you know about this place?
Yeah. I've always had my eyes on Mountain Crest. I was also a basketball coach when I was at Twilla. Not a good one by any means, but when you're done, you just got to do what they ask you to do, when you're trying to break in. But the spirit, the school spirit, all that sort of stuff at Mountain Crest was just unbelievable. I just really liked that, and I really liked the area, and just always wanted to come up here. And when we was young, me and my wife, when we first got married, we'd take drives up through Avon and stuff, and just really liked the area. And that's where we live. It's out of Avon, and that's been great.
So did you have your two kids when you guys were in Cache Valley, or was that back in Tooele?
Actually, it was in Twilla. Actually, when in '96, that's when Boyd was born, and that was during the state tournament. In fact, my wife Jill, she was due any time, and she was even getting interviewed by the newspapers about her pregnancy and when's the baby coming and so on.
So wait, did she had the baby during the state tournament?
No, right after.
I was gonna say
first part of G.
You imagine you're on the state championship.
She looked like
you're at third base coaching, and all of a sudden your wife's like, "Hey, hon, it's on its way. You gotta go."
No, she looked like she needed to have the baby during then, but she held off till after. So anyway, so they was very young. Trecia's 2, like Jory was just born. Yeah,
that's cool. And help me understand, because baseball, I don't want to act like it's just completely foreign to me, but it's really kind of foreign to me, the role that a coach plays in a game. In a practice, I can kind of imagine it. But how do you go about, because obviously you did something different, something better than everyone else. And we've talked to this about Rob Nilsson, the women's volleyball coach, a program that won like 6 matches the year before, region or conference champs the next year, and the next year, and the next year. It sounds like you kind of that Tooele. You show up, they hadn't won a state championship, 4 straight region or district, whatever it was called then, and a state championship. Like how did you design practices to get the players to improve and be better than everyone else?
Well, first of all, I was always trying to be prepared, especially for practices. And, athletes, they want to know what's going on. They want to know the schedule for the most part. They want everything. So I always, you always have to practice and have it down and so on. And then I went into it, and luckily, and I'm so grateful for Jill, my wife. I talked about her a lot, but she was all in too. She was a college softball player. She knew what to cook and so on. And just show the love and passion for the game, for the kids. And I think if you show that, the players they'll do a lot for you and for the program and for the other players and so on. But, just always prepared, show the excitement. There's some days you maybe don't not feel on it or don't want to go to practice or so on, but you got to go do it. And I felt like, throughout that's kind of what I did. can just show that.
Good. And I love that. I love to show that you enjoy the game, love the game. A lot of times when I go with young kids at the gym, the very first thing I'll tell them is, hey, I'm JC Carroll and I love basketball. Like, I love being here. I want to be here. I enjoy this. As you get into practices, do you have a kind of set of core things that are repeated every single day, skills that are every single day type skills that they just know they show up? It's 10 minutes of this, and then it's 10 minutes of this, 10 minutes of this, and then you kind of split off into things you've seen, or not if I'm asking because I'm trying to set up some practice.
Yeah, no.
And I'm saying, how much do I repeat? How much is it just give them new things all the time?
Usually, you show up and you have your individual skill work, so your infielders, your outfielders, catchers, or so on.
About how long would you spend on that every day? If you had a 2-hour practice, how much of that time is spent on individual skill work?
So say like you have your middle infielders, your sophomores, or your shortstops and second basemen or whatever. Split them up about 15 minutes. And once they know the routine and they know what's going on, they just get into it and go. And it's basically the same stuff all the time. Or not exactly, but, maybe on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do this thing, and Tuesday or Thursday or whatever that way. So we always do individual skill work that way. And then we go into, team defense or even break it down like infield team defense compared to outfield team defense. And then going into the hitting part, usually our hitting. And we spend more time, baseball's about hitting, pitching, hitting. We spend a lot of time on hitting. And try to always put them in some game situations, make competitions, with competitive stuff and so on that way. But it's usually a good routine. Yeah. And then the players get into that. Yeah.
All right. No, I love that. I love that. I love the hitting. How many pitches would every hitter get to see in a practice? Was it like a bucket of balls, or was it like a pitch count?
Yeah. Practice wise, we like hitting on the field hitting. We always do like just a number of pitches. So like, like whatever we're hitting, we might be going over hit runs. So you get like 6 pitches. We always break it up. We don't have to let them hit a whole bunch because after 6 or 7 swings, your body's getting tired. Your muscles are tired. So the next guy comes in so you can recover and so on. That way you keep guys going and that. But we always used to put them in situations, hit and runs, man on second, man on third, and then just a good round of BP. Plus we have our cages on the side. They'll do that. Okay. They're hitting the cages with the coach down on the side. Yeah. Got a butt station going, so on. So
yeah. That's where I know that my baseball experience got to a point that there's just a knowledge that is so far beyond what I know. Because I did in Little League, in youth, baseball, I had an unbelievable coach named Mike Lonsway. We practiced more than every other team. My dad helped out. We'd all hit a bucket of balls every single day. We just would go crush people. We went 30 runs to 2, and that kind of stuff. But then we get to a level that you say stuff like, we have in situations, a guy on third, a guy here. And in my very novice baseball, when I see a pitcher and a batter, it's like, all right, all he's trying to do is hit the ball.
Hit the ball. Yeah.
But there's so much more nuance to the game than that. As I sit and talk to you, if a guy's on third or first, is he trying to hit it in different places?
But that's what makes it so great too, is the intricacy, like the mindset thought of. And I was at those practices. Like I would watch him. Like we'd go through a situation. Like you listen like Bill Belichick, right? Situational football all the time. Like it was situational baseball. He'd be like, "Hey, man on second, 1 out." And then he would purposely have like a ground ball to the right side. And then, if something was botched, he'd be like, all right, stop. Now, what did you see? Like, if I'm hitting this to the right side, this ball comes where you're supposed to be, where it's a pitch supposed to be, where the third baseman supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And then he'd be like, all right, 1 out, man on third. And then he hits, a ball to the left side of the field. And again, it's all about being in the position. And you're like, this is like tedious. This is lengthy. Is this really necessary?
Yeah.
Get it to a ball game. Bottom of the 6th, guess what? 1 out, man on second. Guy hits a ground ball to the right side of the field. Everybody's in the exact same spot they were supposed to be. And it was just, it was incredible. Like your situational mindset for baseball was just something unparalleled that I'd never seen. But it also takes a lot of practice, day after day after day.
It takes a lot of practice, and it takes practice for the players to understand it, and then when you put them in that situation before it happens, when it does happen in a game, that hopefully it just comes natural to them and just they just do it. But yeah, there's a whole lot more to baseball than just hitting a bucket of balls and hitting ground balls and leaving for
That's why
sure.
you couldn't make it, Chief.
Man. Yeah, they know. No argument here.
I'm with you.
They always say the game within the game. Yeah, and then that's definitely true without doubt. And it's hard, when players are coming up, they think about hitting and getting base hits. You got to get it in their minds too that, hey, guy out 30, you ground out the second baseman that runs scores. That's the great at bat. That's what we need, and so on. But once they understand that, and those are team at bats and different things. So
Former Skyview quarterback and Utah State football walk-on Ted Stokes has established the #1 bankruptcy law firm in the state of Utah. Stokes' law playbook is helping individuals and businesses overcome tough financial situations. If you are facing garnishment, repossession, foreclosure, or just overwhelming debt, give Stokes Law a call at 435-213-4771 or visit their website at stokesbankruptcy.com. That's stokesbankruptcy.com. Stokes Law is a debt relief agency and provides guidance under the United States Bankruptcy Code.
Do you think you taught that better than other coaches, and that was a kind of an advantage that you guys have?
I don't know if I taught better, but I think we did it better for sure. And I don't know if it's because we did it quite a bit. But I believe that helped us out win a few ball games that way for sure. Yeah.
Want to talk about your time at Mountain Crest. There's always expectations, I think, and maybe this was the case for you too, even in year one, that you're J.C. Carroll, you're going to Mountain Crest basketball, and you're going to change that whole thing, and they're going to be successful right off the gates. So I want to ask both of you coaches, for you, we'll start with you, J.C. Was there an expectation from parents and the community alike of like, all right, it's J.C. Carroll, so now we're going to fix this and we're going to win games immediately, just like that?
Probably. I think.
Did you feel it?
I didn't feel it because I had already, before I took the job, I kind of knew where we were, and I knew what success looked like in my mind. And we just kind of went down that list of, and there were a lot of unknowns. There were a lot of things I didn't know. Not basketball-wise, but just being a high school basketball coach. I thought I knew a lot because of watching my dad. There's so many things, but I think there definitely was an expectation. I think there was a high expectation, but I had kind of my own metrics and goals that I thought if we could hit these goals, it was successful. And I tried to portray those things to my team, so they understood. Like going and losing here wasn't a failure; it was a success because of this. Little things, going from 2 girls at open gym to 25 girls at open gym, big success, right? We celebrate that. Tell your friends, get here. You're part of this family. We want you here. We need you here. You got so much better. Please keep coming. We can make better if you're here. Setting that expectation. Hey, we haven't beaten Skyview in 10 years. We're going to work hard to beat them. Hey, we've only beaten Green Canyon one time in the history of Green Canyon. Let's go. That is a big success if we do it. So, so anyway, I could have had my own little goals to kind of keep my kids confident, understanding that we were making progress. When people outside might have been like, they were barely above 500 and they did okay, but inside it's like the girls were amazing.
Okay. Coach, you won a state championship in '96. You come to Mountain Crest. Was there any expectations after Coach Blotter had stepped down and you had taken his place of that they expected immediate success when you stepped into the box?
Yeah, I believe there was a lot of expectations. Mountain Crest has always been a good baseball program. They won a lot of region championships before I came, and Coach Blotter did a great job before, but they just couldn't quite get over that hump in the state, on the level of the state, and so on. And we had a good team coming in. When my first year, the juniors were, it's very good, and there was a lot of expectations and so on for them, and it was baseball is a big thing in Cache Valley.
Absolutely,
big play.
100%.
They take that. So there's that, and I had to mesh the team. There was a little division amongst some players and parents and so on. I had to take that and mesh them together. And
how do you do that?
Well, just.
Hold Oh, how did you do that? I guess you should like, oh well,
Yeah.
I don't even know, but
Yeah, I don't know. I live in the highway. And on board to get off.
Well, no, but that's a great point. Like you just said, and sorry to interrupt you, Coach, but I remember our first meeting, and he gave the exact same speech all 4 years I was there as a manager to the players. It is my way, or you can go find another sport to play. Like your talent's probably good, but I want someone who actually wants to be here for the team. And it was, don't bring your mom and dad to come talk to me. If you want to do that, you better be there with them because I'm going to tell them exactly what I told you.
Yeah.
And when you bring that kind of a mindset, Coach, that like, hey, this isn't a joke around thing. This isn't just to come hang out like you would, maybe had some players do. We're here to play baseball. We're here to win games. Did that mindset ring true in your first couple of years there at Mountain Crest?
Without doubt, so when I came out, there was no summer program. There was one summer program for the whole valley.
Oh, wow.
And so they played. And so I had to come up and change that because they came up and said, no, Mountain Crest is going to have the summer program. And of course, a lot of people didn't like that. Mm-hmm. And I told them that you're going to play with us in the summer. And we're basically not going to play now. I don't know if I could do that today because it's a little different. Yeah. And so that was a struggle to begin with. But once they bought into that, and we got the team together and tried to get players together. And now, summer programs in the whole valley are thriving. Every high school has them. They have 2 or 3 teams playing, so on. But when I came back then, there was just one. And I found that out. I got a job and I came and watched them play. I watched that one team, the Cache Valley Sox, I believe they call them. I watched that one team, and I was in the stands watching, and half the Mountain Crest guys were there watching them. I was like, why did you guys play? So, well, we got to make the team. Or they didn't ask us or whatever. I said, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
We all got to be playing. And that's what kind of said, hey, this is what we got to do.
So in your first year developing that summer, how many kids did you have on your team?
Well, we had the whole high school, players and stuff. Yeah, they all ended up playing.
Oh, okay.
But it was a struggle there for a couple of years, or for a couple of weeks, I should say, to say, hey, this is what, because that team was established and so on. And there's big, there's a Legion team, but they're a good team throughout the state, without doubt. But it's a combination of all high schools, and so on. But once we got that, and we just took off down. Now it's just kind of it's expected type of thing.
Going to go to your first state championship year with Mountain Crest. This was one of the most unreal seasons. I never we see in the paper, and my dad and I followed them really closely. You said that 90, I think your first year team, 96 was pretty talented. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then that 97, so the year before that, how did you guys do? Because they would be seniors by then, right? That 97? Or is that 98? Sorry.
So
your 96 team was really talented, right? The juniors.
Yeah.
So then that next year's team would be seniors. Sorry, I'm probably confusing you here. What was that 97 team? How did they do?
So 97 at Twilla?
At Mountain Crest, sorry.
Yeah, so my first year at Mountain Crest was in 98.
Oh, it was 98?
Yeah, 98.
Oh, flip, man.
Yeah.
Because they won in 96.
96.
They had an okay year.
In 97.
97.
So 98. So 98 was my first year. And our juniors...
That would have been my freshman year of high school.
Is that what... Yeah.
So I could have... If I was in this area...
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe he's looking for... Maybe he's looking for...
Would have been a good ball player.
Maybe I'm a baseball guy.
Yeah, maybe your path would have been totally different.
You know what? I was a baseball guy too, and I didn't make the team. I was a water boy. But in 3 feet chasing. So you won a state championship in 96.
Yeah.
Came in 98, and it took you 1 year to figure it out here.
Well, I coached 98, and then won it in 99. But let me tell you, I took over, there was some good baseball players. But there's kind of
There's friction, right?
Yeah, there was some friction and so on. I had to figure out a way to bring them together. And so...
You feel like you figured it out by that end of the season?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. It was a struggle at times, but by the end of the season, they came through. And they were a very good team.
Let me think. So I think were there some Zimmermans?
Yeah,
some of those teams.
Mike was a catcher, wasn't he?
Yeah, there's Mike was the catcher on the 99 team. Mike Money is the oldest there, but
And then some of the, I mean, who are other good baseball players?
Oh, he was loaded.
Those were pretty good. Right?
yeah, the Zimmermans came through. Yeah, there's 3.
Ryan Brady after that.
Yeah,
Ryan was
after that.
played a little bit of minor league balls for a while.
On the 99, the state MVP, and that was Jed Jetson. He's actually helps in Ridgeline right now. His brother Justin Jetson's the head coach.
Okay.
You know, so they have all their kids going through it.
He had a Parkinson on that team, didn't you?
Parkinson, yeah.
Was it Randy?
It was Randon at the time, yeah. Yeah, there was 3 Parkinsons that came through.
Nick Bott was on this team. And Nick Bott ended up playing in the Caldwell Series for Rice.
For Houston.
For Houston as a catcher.
Houston.
In the Caldwell Series. And then Travis Cox was also on that team and had a major part in that state championship run, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he had a home run in the state championship.
So when did you guys lose? Okay, so give me that state championship run tour. You guys lost at what point in that tournament?
We lost. We won the first 2 games, and then we lost the 3rd game.
Okay, and then you had to play.
At that time, the bracketing was all messed up. So if you won, you got buys, and if you lost, you had to drop down and play a bunch of games to get back up through. And so we lost the 3rd game. The next day we had to play a doubleheader, and we beat Spanish Fork and Pleasant Grove, both in walk-offs. At that time, and they still are. Pleasant Grove and Spanish Fork are like great things. Yeah, great baseball programs. And talk about Nick Bott. Actually, the one against Pleasant Grove, he hit. It wasn't a walk-off. We took the lead in the top of the 7th. But Nick Bott walked off with the home run against Spanish Fork. But then that night, he hit a home run in the top of the 7th to take the lead. And then we ended up pulling him. And
then Travis Cox was the next day because you guys won 7 games in 5 days.
Yeah, something like that.
I think Travis Cox had a big. Did he have a walk-off home run in that run too? Or no?
He hit a home run in our state. We had to win 2 games on the last day.
Beat Payson. Right?
Beat Payson. The second game, so the state championship game, he hit a home run to put us ahead.
What was your
maybe it's 5th inning or so?
What was your mentality like going into that state championship doubleheader? Like, I mean, you guys had to be absolute. Because did you guys travel home and then come back and go play there again?
We did, and that was at Lindquist, so it wasn't too much of a travel down in Ogden.
Okay.
So yeah, we travel back and forth, and it's just state tournament in baseball is just the emotions are just unbelievable because you're high and low, and then you win a game and you just got to move on to the next one. Now, who can pitch? Who can do this? Who can do that? And just that. After we beat Spanish Fork and Pleasant Grove, then we played Murray, which was one of the top-ranked teams, and probably the team that was picked away, and we just crushed them. We maybe 10 run up, but we just got on a roll right there, and then ended up beating Payson the next day twice.
So after you win a state, I mean, to come back and win 2 games against Payson, it's unreal. Like, what was that euphoria like, winning a state championship on the loser side of the bracket, coming through all the way?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, to do that and just to feel that feeling and see your players and even their parents and just all that, just the joy.
Do you remember how the last out was made?
We turned a double play, actually, for the last out. Yeah. Yep, I believe 6-4-3. I believe, or 4-6, or that. But yeah.
And you know what's amazing, JC, is that they win it in 98, and this guy has a ton of success between 1999 and 2008. Like, I was on a team when 2003, we can get to this a little more, but that went undefeated in the regular season. We were ranked 27th in the country.
Yeah.
Still didn't win.
Yeah.
I mean, it was over a decade plus 1 year that you guys would win another state championship. Did you come to realize after winning in 96 in Tutuila, 98 or 99, 98 in Mountain Crest, you're like, man, it's pretty easy. I can do this, right?
Yeah.
And then it's a decade plus for some of the most talented players you've ever had in that program, and you don't win a state championship.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to win in that. And I always told the players and stuff, it's like, we want to be like the Oklahomas, the Texas, and that, and football, the Alabamas that they talk about every year. Are you going to win it every year? Probably not. But you got to be in the conversation every year. And I believe we was always in the conversation. But yeah, it was a 10 years since we in between the two. We did take second in 2007.
That's right. That was my brother's senior year.
Yeah.
You guys, they had this, the Colin had this pitcher. He's a lefty, Tanner Robles.
Yeah.
Unreal. Nick said he was the scariest pitcher he ever faced in person.
That was before all the transferring around, that sort of stuff. But Cottonwood kind of started that in baseball. And there's a lot of kids that transferred over there, and they had a big run for 5 to 6 years and in Connecticut. But we did. Those the team that beat us both times in the state tournament that year.
No, those are the years when I ended up in the Valley, the Utah State. I got there in 2005, and so and the reason I bring the Zimmerman is because I used to sit with Linda Zimmerman.
Yeah.
And so, Mountain Crest baseball was something that was talked about at that time. I think football, too.
Yeah, football is great. Yeah,
Mark Wooten was there.
Yeah, Mark was there. And
so was the school, so it was definitely on the radar.
I want to ask you, because I'm going to give it to you on this one, but when you, what was your first time, I know you have to be careful how you answer this, handling kids not getting playing time with parents? And how awkward was it for you, or was it awkward, or was it like a very blunt conversation?
No, for me, it hasn't been super difficult because I've had a paramedic too, and honestly, we keep track of who comes to stuff, who doesn't, and I was able, before the parent meeting, I sat on the whiteboard, I lined out, this was our basketball schedule, these are how many open gyms we have. Here's how many weightlifting sessions we had. And I just, I listened to the parents' question. And I said, wait, look, I understand that. We're a competitive sport. We're not a club sport. Not everyone needs to play. And we provide opportunities. How many of these opportunities was your daughter at to get better? And they just kind of look at it and go, well. And there's always an excuse or always a reason. Well, she didn't come to any. And I was like, well. It's hard for me. They can't get better if I can't see them. There's people, if they don't come here and practice, there's people that are better than them, that have put that time and effort in it. And so I haven't had a lot of heartburn with those types of players that kind of show up the day of tryouts and then expect to play a lot. Because we have girls that have grinded for months to earn that playing time.
Coach, how about you? I mean, you've had some pretty tough conversations with some kids about, they want to play, they're talented. You always had a deep depth pool of talent.
Yeah.
What was your conversations like with those kids? And
and that's basically it. The opportunity is always there. And we tell them all the time, I mean, every day you're building your resume. And if it's practice, if it's weightlifting, if it's open gym stuff or anything like that, you're doing that. And when the talent's so close, that is a big difference maker. And honestly, if the people that show up to all this extra stuff and so on, put some time in on their own and everything like that, they'll separate themselves. It usually happens. And there is people that want everything and not give anything. And so you got to let them know about that.
Get me to feel this way. I think I'll be coming home. It's been such a long time. Oh, I think I might have made one too many a mistake. If you help me find
Bridgeland Adventure Park is closed for the 2024 summer. That doesn't mean you can't start thinking about next summer. Bridgeland Adventure Park's already accepting reservations for group parties next year. Corporates, family groups, youth groups, you name it. Bring them all out and experience an adventure with us. Located at 722 South First Light Drive in Garden City, Utah, you can call at 435-946-2246 or visit the website at blap.rocks.
the world in hand, and now I've got it back.